Testing, testing. All right, folks, just a couple of minutes and we will get started with the live. Maybe. So everybody bear with me tonight. We are working on trying some new things to get some new things worked out here. So to make it easier to share and easier to go over charts. All right, so we're going to start. It is right at 8 Central, 9 Eastern. So first of all, welcome everybody to the uh, MC Trading live YouTube, and then of course on the Discord, MC Trading Discord. I don't have really anybody in the room yet, so hopefully a few people will watch this later. So just going to look at SPY this week. We will have Linus join us here shortly. He's having to wrap up a few things with work, but then he'll hop on and go over kind of what his thoughts for the week are. So let's get started. So this week, really not expecting a whole lot from SPY. I got a feeling, this is Thanksgiving week, so we're working on a shorter week. So we've got market close Thursday, closed early Friday. We do have FOMC minutes coming out Wednesday, which I don't think is going to be a big market mover. You might see something out of it, but kind of what I'm thinking is we have lower volume. So if you look here, we're on the 4-hour chart. Here's our volume chart at the bottom. This line here is what is our average volume. So you can see kind of above that. I got a feeling we're going to actually, this volume is going to keep trending down. If you notice here, it's been trending down. Been trending down here since 1st of November, right? We're in the downtrend on volume. I think the volume is going to continue to trend down. With that, though, I believe the market will continue to trend up. We do have a gap fill up this way. So I think we possibly could get back up here where we've been talking about forever, this 403, 406 area. Been talking about this for a few weeks now, right? We hit it there, rejected off of it, came back down to this zone here, respected that zone, bounced back off of it. I look for us to get back up here, this top. Kind of how I see this playing out is to go back up and then to come back down, maybe come back down there, and then just play back up. And then just to continue that until we get a break on this channel we're in. You see we're in this uptrend on this channel. We do have a gap below. We got a gap above. We're kind of in between the gaps, kind of just bouncing around there. So last week, you look, Friday is kind of we started, went down off open, kind of stayed around there and came back up, finished close to even, just not a lot of movement. You look here, not sure if y'all can see the 30-minute chart over here, but just look at all this, no movement. If you wanted to draw this little channel out here, pretty much got one there, and just look, we stayed right in there, kind of where we bounced at all afternoon. Went away from it, came through it, stayed around it, came right back into it, it closed. So wouldn't be surprised if we get something like the same movement to finish the day out, or finish the week out next week. I am going to look at a couple other stocks. Yanni brought it up in the chat earlier, and I'd already been looking at Walmart. We kind of had the same thoughts on Walmart. Just down 4-hour. So as he said, 150. This area right here is going to be strong for Walmart if it breaks. I think if we do break that area, let's change this up so we can actually see. I think if we break that area, we are headed back up here to this zone, which possibly could see the 155 area. So I definitely will look to play Walmart long if it does break that area. If it breaks this 149.01 area, I will look to play it down back to the bottom of this. And we do have a gap at the bottom down here that needs to be filled. So, I mean, I'm good playing Walmart either way. I like it more to the upside. I think with revised guidance they have there, they seem to be on track to blow some stuff out of the water. So I'm thinking that Walmart will continue up. You know, we had this big jump here right on Tuesday, still trending up overall. So I like this in the long run. I think I will. We open above that 150.57. If we open up too far above it, I'll wait and see if we pull back to it. Then I want to go long. If we're right there at it, break it, I'm going to take it and go long. So my target's going to be the 153 and then, of course, 155. I'm going to look at PayPal this week. If we could type, it would be better. PayPal, looking looking for this break here. It's kind of in this little area here. If we can break this 85.81 area, which right now we're at 84.91, if we can break this 85.91, move up a dollar, I'll look to go long and start taking profit at the 86.71 level. If we come back down, I'm gonna let it fall a little bit before I get in. Probably would actually jump in at this level right here. Would like that 83.50 area to break before I would do anything with PayPal, but I will be watching PayPal. And then, of course, we're going to watch Coin. Coin has been beat up with this FTX stuff going on. And let me type it right. Coin, you can see he's back in this zone down here at the bottom. You see what happened last time we came down with that zone? We spiked back off of it, came back up this zone, then went back down. I'll be watching to see if we get a move back up out of this. Probably a 45.50 area is where I would like to go along. Maybe this 45.70, 46 area. I think if we do break that, we can see that 49.50 area pretty quick, and would not be surprised to see this trend up all week. Here's your POC on the 4 hour. If you do your volume and you checking it out, a lot of times you see this tends to be a magnet a lot of the time. So I got a feeling that we might want to go start pushing back up this way. So like I said, if we break this 46 area, I would look to go long. We break that down. Any lower here, I probably would look to go short. I have a feeling, unless we have some more news come out, this could be a double bottom here too. We could play back off of it. I don't know how much more actual downside we can get out of Coin. I mean, you say that and then go further, but if you look, we got a pretty big zone, maybe to the 40 level. Then after that, we have nothing. There's no levels below that. So if we do get there, volume drops off. We have a volume. That's just a gap of the cliff here. So if we drop off there, we're gone. So definitely watching Coin. Would like to play it to the upside if I get a chance. Probably would not play on the downside. Would actually like to see it get back in this channel, make a move back up, then come back and test again and just keep running it down. So that's going to be my thoughts, kind of what I'm looking at. SPY, what we're thinking on SPY. I think we could have a trend up this week, just kind of basically just trending up the whole week. I'm going to keep an eye on PayPal, Walmart, and Coin. I did look at TGT. TGT was beat up in earnings. And actually, I'm just wasting a lot of time so we can get Linus on here now. I did draw out TGT too. So if you look here, we're in this channel on TGT. We came almost all the way down to this zone, almost all the way down to the bottom of the channel. Then we started back up. We actually have a gap here to fill. So if TGT was to get in this gap here, this 164.67 area, might look to play it long, play it back up to fill that gap. And then, of course, to reverse back up here at this zone up top. You can see it was beat up. I mean, it just drastic fall at earnings. Guidance wasn't that good. You got the holidays. I got a feeling that demand is going to be high this holiday season. You got some states. I know California's giving out that stimulus right now, so I think there's a few other states that are following that. So you could see a bump from Targets, your WalMarts of the world popping back up. I do kind of like this chart. The more I think about it, the more I look at it. You look where it was beat down, had a double bottom here where it kind of bounced off of, then went up. Uh, you could play this a couple of ways. You could probably play this as almost as a cup and handle, come back up and go down. Uh, really, maybe inverse head and shoulders. You got a few different things here on the 4 hour. So definitely, I like TGT. Probably would look, like I said, look to play this upside. Definitely would like to play the upside. Would like to see this gap fill and see it take off from that gap fill. Sorry, I'm a little bit under the weather too, so voice is a little raspy and it's a little hard to talk long. So let's look at while we're here. I hadn't looked at the cues in a little bit, so let's go look at the cues while we're waiting on Linus to get on here. I think Linus has lied to me. We've been over our time. He's still not on yet, so hopefully we'll catch him here in a minute. If not, we will. Oh, hey, I see Linus on there. I see he finally joined. Hey, buddy, how you doing? You build? Was you sitting there planning how to talk to me about your swing positions? Gotcha. Well, yeah, I'm not sure how long you've been on. I just saw you was on there at the bottom. Well, I was just going through charts. I went through SPY. Kind of what my thoughts for SPY possibly could be this week. Thinking that it's going to be a lower volume. We could see a trend up. I went over Walmart, PayPal, Coin, TGT, kind of some beaten up stocks I think could do good. You got a couple of gap fills on Walmart and TGT. I think there could be big plays if they go in this week. So with the holidays, I got a feeling that our retail trader, our retail stocks are going to kind of take a bounce back up. I know a lot of have you heard I saw where California's doing their stimulus packages, their money's going out now, and I think there's a couple other states following suit. So that could be big for retail coming out. Absolutely, yeah. When I saw that was already coming out, I was like, oh, here we go. J Powell is fixing to hammer them. Right. So right now, can you? So you're on the Discord, correct? Are you seeing my chart on Discord? Okay. Okay. So do you want me to go to the? Where would you like me to go to? Okay. Hang on one second. I should have you pull it up here somewhere. I've got about 18 million windows up in here, Linus, trying to work this out right. So we don't have the same snafu we had last time. All right. So you see your upcoming Catalyst events page? Or are you still seeing charts? So let me swap over. Hang on. How about now? Awesome. hang tight 1 second, man. Technical difficulties. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Yeah, the way I had you on the, it was not letting you go through, so you and me heard on the video. So I got you now.
Oh yeah, that's no problem. Okay. If you could click the icon next to the time, that 8:15 p.m. Those little three lines there, and then that should put up a filter list. So we're gonna go none on the countries, and then we're gonna just scroll all the way to the bottom, or scroll to EU, so Euro area,
Uh,
up a little, just a little bit more. There you go. So Euro area on the right, and then we're gonna select that one, and then we're gonna go to the bottom in United States and UK. So, yep, and right next to it, yep, save.
there we go.
All right, much better. So, I don't follow the Chinese data because A, I don't trust it. B, it's just noise in my opinion. It To me, the Chinese stock market, it never accurately goes 1 to 1 with the U.S. market. It seems it's cool in futures and stuff, but it never for the regular session, in my opinion. Right? Some other people have different opinions, but okay. So we'll go to Monday. Monday, well, it looks like in the middle of the night we have Bank of England's Conlow's having a speech. So again, Dixie implications there. And then we have some bond auctions, the kind of at 10:30 noon. So those are things you want to look out for. You could get a reaction, especially on low volume weeks like we have coming up. This week is a holiday week, so everybody pretty much knows this, but we'll go over it. So it is regular days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We are closed on Thursday, and we have a half day on Friday. So what a half day means is we close at 1. Um, so what that means is if you're if you're seeing weekly options look like they're a good deal, it's because obviously you're missing Thursday and you get a half a day on Friday. So don't get too married to any sort of weekly option pricing this week. And obviously, whatever you hold on Wednesday, you've only got a half a day on Friday to exit that position. So just keep that in mind when you're playing your risk this week. Low volume weeks tend to bring more volatility, which also should mean for any traders or scalpers, um, really any investors, is you then dial it back on the amounts that you're playing with. So you normally play with a set percentage in each play. You may want to pull that back just a little bit because it is one of those weeks that any minor news could shift the trend quite quickly because the big money tends to take a break. So, with that out of the way, that makes bond auction and things like that important because they can shift the sentiment for the day pretty quickly. So we want to keep an eye on that for tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Eastern and 12 Eastern. Tuesday, look, let's see, Tuesday, scroll down a little bit. We got some Richmond Fed Manufacturing Index. Um, you're going to have the last minute Fed speakers. Oh, Bullard, 145. So Bullard is an interesting one because he made a lot of people angry last week with the Fed funds rate comment because he said it could go to 5% or even 7%, and that made a lot of people upset on the CNBC side. But um, he's the hawk. But not only is he a hawk, a lot of people, a lot of bulls hate Bullard obviously because he is hawkish. But Bullard was the one Fed official in 2021 that kept hammering the fifth and saying we need to start raising interest rates now. And he was talking about that in June of 2021. and he said we need to start pausing quantitative easing now. We need to start quantitative tightening end of the year. He was the one that was just basically saying what everybody should have been doing, and everybody kind of pushed him off as just this major bear and whatever bullard. But now you see Fed officials coming out and saying we should have raised rates earlier. We should have done these things earlier. We underestimated inflation. So when Bullard does these kind of wacky statements that people kind of roll their eyes at, to me, it's one of those maybe forward-looking things because he was right about it last time, and I think Jay Powell is very much serious about going much higher on the Fed funds rate, as he said, and you could possibly see a 7% or a 6.5% on the December FOMC economic projections for 2023. And that is something the market has not priced in. The market has priced in basically a rate hike to 4.5 to 5% and then a pause. So if that Fed funds rate comes in on the economic projections much higher in December, something to keep a lookout for. But anyway, Bullard is talking next week, so we want to listen for him. So obviously he could have a negative impact to the market. Scroll down. Wednesday's the big day. I know that has all the. So not only do you have the domestic stuff, but you have a lot of Euro speech, which again makes the Dixie go dance up and down, up and down, and I mean all that data. Let's see, keep going. So we have mortgage data, man, whatever. Building permits, man. Initial jobless claims, durable goods orders, non-defense goods orders, global composite FMI or PMI, and University of Michigan 5-year inflation expectations. So you got a spicy day on Wednesday. Obviously, the U of M things the U of M consumer expectations have just been this sneaky report that tends to violently move the market for whatever reason on that particular day that they get released. And it's such a small report in the grand scheme of things, but it just is carrying so much weight for whatever reason. So we have to pay attention to it. So combine that with a low volume week. If that report is favorable to the bulls, you could see a move up. If it's not favorable, you could see a violent move down. So that's a big one. Then you obviously have the FOMC minutes later that day. So you got more housing data, a lot of crude oil stuff. But yeah, I think the big one, and yeah, the bond auctions, got more of that. And I think on your filters, you have all the importance levels selected, which is fine. But yeah, so FOMC minutes there at 1. And those are central time, so 2 p.m.
Right,
Eastern
correct.
Time. Yeah, so Wednesday is kind of your day of, I guess you would say, normalcy. It's because there's enough data that can move juke and jive the markets. So you could see kind of a trend up type situation heading into Wednesday, and then the actual trend for the week getting set on Wednesday. Friday, to me, is just so dangerous. Obviously, Thursday we're closed, so you're going to have all this stuff. Friday, you're going to have literally no big money trading, in my opinion. And last year, if I remember correctly, Friday saw a pretty nasty drop. If you could, Monty, if you could take a look at last Black Friday, I'll pull up the date on the SPY for you. But all right, if memory serves me correct, Black Friday 2021.
So kind of, you saying that, Linus, I'm going to let everybody know. I'm going to do a lot more studying and back testing next week, but I am going to actually treat Wednesday as my Friday by lunch. So I will be done Wednesday by lunch, and we'll be through for the week. So
I think that's a very smart thing, because you're actually going to get that theta still priced into your options. Well, you know, they'll treat it still like you have a few days, because regardless, you technically you do still have 2 days, because there are events that move the markets that may not actually move the markets that will happen on Thursday overseas or could potentially happen. Um, so yeah, I think Wednesday being your weekly option expiration day would be the smart move. So this day was November 26th, 2021. So that was the Friday of the week. But it's always good to just kind of look back at what that did. And if I remember correctly, October of 2021, we had this crazy rally that happened. And that was it's funny to say, it took like, I think it was like 15 days. We moved 20 points, and that was like an amazing rally. Now we're moving 20 points in a few days, and we're just like, yeah, pretty good rally. But
Yeah, give me a second to get.
so
Just let me get there. I'm in July.
yeah,
What was the date?
you're in the hourly. So it was the 26th.
Ooh, a little big. So there's. How would he go back that far? There's the 26th here. So if you look, we gap down. It's the 25th,
Oh yeah. That,
and then we tanked hard. We had a lot of movement. We had a big downswing.
what's the range on that from the top to the close of the previous day to
468.
the low of Friday?
He had about a $13 drop on SPY.
Whoa,
Yeah.
from Wednesday to Friday.
Yep.
Yeah,
Actually, a
that.
little better than that. 470. Then we went all the way down to 456. So a 14-point swing down overall.
And we never touched that high until January. I mean, if that was 470, that was the high.
Yeah, that was 470.27. That was the. Ain't that something?
Wow. And it look kind of forward looking. Look at those. Look at that Wednesday.
Yeah. If you
Those
look,
big red candles. Boom, boom, boom.
yeah, you had a few weeks there that was just, man. Of course, then we rallied back up. We came back up
Yeah.
to 470 again,
Okay. So
and then
this was the Santa Claus rally that
yep,
they
yep, and then look,
kept it going.
and then came back in. This is the middle of February. I mean, middle of December we started tanking, and then rallied back up again. Had that. There's your V shape. Look, made all-time highs. Look at that consolidation there, Lonnie.
Wow.
Now that's what you call consolidation. How many days is that? That's Tuesday through Thursday consolidating.
I remember that. It chewed me up. I had puts. I had started to enter puts there. And I was getting really nervous that they were just about to blow the top off of this. Because I was following David Hunter on Twitter, who was calling for like a 600 SPY melt up. And I was like, damn, he's going to be right.
I mean, you
And
basically had
then,
a month of, and there's your
yeah,
tank.
it chewed me up. And then finally, destruction.
So that's why you
And
hold your
those were
put
the
so
times.
long.
Oh, God.
That's why you hold your put so long. Got
Yeah, that's exactly right.
you.
And eventually you'll be right. In this market, I think you can actually say that. On both sides. And yeah, so let's kind of go back to that holiday week. So I'd be interested to see what the Monday and Tuesday did.
All right, so here we are on the 25th, 26th.
So sorry, go before that. So what before Thanksgiving? So just
Okay,
the
I
Monday,
got you.
Tuesday before.
So here's the Monday before. This is the 21st. If you can see, we actually spiked up on Monday and then took a
Right.
Tuesday took a, no, actually that's Monday we spiked up, then came all the way back down Monday. I forgot I'm on the
So the
hourly.
high of the week was actually Monday,
Yep.
right at the open,
Yep.
near the open.
Yeah, we got that
Yeah.
30 minutes after open. 473.54.
Wow, look at that candle. That how? All right, let me tell you how much would you be salivating on that wick?
Oh my goodness. Well, you look right here. I mean, it's telling you right here. You couldn't get a better reversal candle than you wanted right there. I mean, that's when you
Right.
look up textbook reversal. There it is. That's
Right.
what you look for. And then, man, did it die after. As soon so kind of look behind the tent here on this one. As soon as we open this one red, I'm taking it down.
I didn't get that. Could you
Oh,
try again?
okay. Siri, want to talk to me? Sorry. Stop, Siri. Well, we get a little bit of everything
Yeah,
here
then
today.
you pretty much just hold it through the week. I actually think you could see something like this. I do you have the 150 um, MAs on the weekly chart? Can you pull up a weekly chart for the 150?
Let's see, weekly. And then you want to add 150 simple moving average?
Yeah, just a 100 and then a 50.
Okay, yeah, I got the 150 on here.
So you see the cross that happened?
Yep.
So normally the death cross is what 50 and 200, but on weekly it's gonna be such a lagged indicator, right? So
Right.
to me that cross that happened this past week, or is it this week or the last week? Anyway,
It happened last week.
you've got this kind of, yeah, and then we had basically a doji candle this week.
Yep.
So not sure what the hell to do, but yeah, I think this is one of those moments where even though we have low volume, even though it's a holiday week, look what happened last year. I mean that would have eaten alive anybody that was just thinking bullish week all week, right? That was
Well, here's
just
your
destruction.
here's your same week last week. This is the week of and the week after, and you see we 473.54 and low 448.92. So I mean, you're looking at a big, almost what, a 18 point, 16 point swing.
Yeah,
2
we said
weeks.
that 13 of those were on the Friday.
Yep.
I could see that. And now I could also see us, popping up, hitting 400 and getting rejected, similar to what happened on that Monday. So I don't think anybody can really for sure say what's going to happen this week and actually say it's also going to be a trendsetter moving forward. But to me, you just play light and you don't try and if like for me, I have February puts now, so I'm in it to win it. I'll do my scalps. I'll do my calls, but I'm not going to touch that February position. That to me is kind of just peace of mind in my world of weird trading. But for anybody that has small accounts and or even just big accounts, you just don't want to put any sort of massive risk on the line this week. Because if you can get one to go your way, even the smaller bets can actually end up being pretty profitable, right? Would you agree?
Yes, and then also look here too. So look at your
Yeah.
volume. Your volume's trending down, and like I said, you already know this is going to be a slower week. You know, volumes will go down even more this week. I have started, Linus. I don't know if you ever do this, so I've added this to my volume where I see the average volume, so I kind of know where we're at on every candle I'm looking at. So I've noticed that if you go back, just kind of going back and look, this is a weekly we're looking at. If you go back and look, any volume or the majority of the volume that's over average is bearish as can be. We're getting these run ups on low volume. I mean, look here, all low volume. We get a run up, and then boom, they come back and hammer us. We had this one exception here. This was actually pretty big. You know, the 24th and the 31st had big volume, but then you look at the rest of it, we're getting all our run up on low volume and we're getting our sell offs on higher volume. So that's a trend.
Well, that kind of favors the bullish argument this week.
Yeah, that's kind of why I'm thinking we
With
might
the-
trend up, but it's also why I'm going to
Yeah.
play it cautiously and be done Wednesday.
Right. Yeah, I think that's the best approach because it's just too wacky, right? And the thing that there is a chart that we're not gonna be able to. I'm not gonna be able to share it with you tonight. It's on my other computer, but I had put a chart, a monthly chart, and I had added the inflation rate, Fed funds rate. I had added the SPY, and I had added the unemployment rate. And what I was trying to find out was, and I had added 2008 and 2018 SPYs. So I was basically trying to match all this stuff properly.
Mm-hmm.
And what I found was we actually had a nice move upward as inflation was kind of peaking. And you could see back in the 70s, SPY wasn't in the 70s, but this was a SP 500 chart. But as inflation was peaking, again, really difficult to verbalize this, but stay with me here. We saw a month where the S&P 500 actually rallied up, and then the very next month, unemployment started spiking out of control, like going way, way, way up. And it was at that moment when unemployment started going way up that the S&P 500 finally reacted negatively downward. So I say that really to say, again, I'll show the chart, but the market, I believe, is about to take a shift, and I believe it's about to get forced by J Powell, where we're not really focused so much on the inflation readings and the reports. Of course, they're going to be important. Of course, they're going to be big. But I really believe J Powell is about to switch his focus to be on the labor market. And the fact that November 30th meeting just got scheduled on Friday, and it's about the economic outlook and the U.S. labor market by J Powell. I believe he's about to tackle that and make that data set the most important data set to monitor moving forward, and not so much focus. He's going to still be focused on the 2% inflation mandate. And ultimately, his goal is to get inflation down, but he's going to want the markets to take notice that this jobs data is going to be weighted way, way more importantly than the CPI data or things like that, because ultimately, if inflation fluctuates and goes down a month and then goes down a little bit more the next month, unless the labor market cools off or the consumer cools off and the housing market cools off, none of this readings on the inflation on the CPI reports is sustainable where he can trust it. So with that said, I think you're going to see the market switch to finally realize that, okay, job losses are happening. This is not a good U.S. economy. And I think you'll see the Dixie fall with it. You'll see volume start to spike up on the bearish side as people start to slowly take their wins and, basically hoard cash as the job market tends to cool off. Because when the job market cools off, that's when spending tends to slow down. And obviously, it's horrible, right? Nobody wants that to happen. But I think the Fed is kind of saying, unless the consumer stops spending, the job market has to cool off for us to cool down and not raise rates as aggressive. So that's something I would keep a lookout. And that talk having on November 30th just so happens to be right before all the major jobs data gets released the next week. So I don't think that's an accident. And I think Jay Powell is very aware that a Santa Claus rally could happen, and he does not want that. So again, this is all speculation. This is not anything you can trade off of, but it is something you want to keep an eye on. So circling that back to this week, if you just sit back and let things play out, and if the market decides to move higher, and you can, scalp your way up with the market if it decides to move higher, keep in the back of your mind that you do have a bearish event in J Powell talking that, there's always a chance that he could pause and could be completely dovish, and, they call it the Santa pause rally, could happen. Not likely given his last statements just a month ago and what the market has done in reaction to it. But there's always an opinion out there that will say that he could pause. But if you can play it safe this upcoming week and into that speech on the 30th, we could have a very cool opportunity for a very profitable strangle. If you play futures, you could play the strangle in the futures, or a fairly confident one-sided long-term put option. For example, my February puts, I would feel more than comfortable holding them through J Powell with a very small hedge on the call side, short term, if for whatever reason he decided to go dovish. But to me, it's just all about surviving this week. So I would say don't get married to any sort of shifts or trends or changes this week, because you just need to get through this week and know that it's all kind of a fugazi, in my opinion. And even if that means we're trending down, I wouldn't say it's time to pile into puts, right? Because the big money could show back up next Monday, and say, okay, well, thanks for the deal, and buy the dip way up.
Yep.
If there's anything we've learned, that the market is definitely not afraid of the Fed right now, and they just keep buying up the dips and holding it up for whatever reasons. So that would be kind of my closing statement on this week: is don't get too married to the trend, and play the mining game of being in and out each day. And if you miss a big move, you miss a big move. On a low volume week, more than likely you're going to miss a big move, but that's okay.
Absolutely.
It's all about survival this week, not so much to make huge amounts of money, in my opinion.
Oh, I agree 100%. That's why I'm taking this week as more of a learning week. I'll trade some, of course. You can't not trade some. You got it's there. So, but that's going to be a lot more behind the scenes stuff this week instead of actually trading. So.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of people on FinTwit. Granted, we see it every week, but everybody's like, this is a make or break week for Tesla. This is a make or break week for the SPY. This is the make or break week for the 2008 analog chart. I've never really felt that make or break weeks are happening on holiday low volume weeks.
Right.
So I would kind of, and again, I mean, even if they are saying this is a bearish trend and all that stuff, and me, I'm bearish as they come, but I can't take any stock into it. It's just kind of like, for sports fans, it's kind of like winning. Like Florida State beat Louisiana Lafayette doesn't mean they're going to go into Florida next week and roll them.
Yeah, probably will.
It's just a small sample size, so.
Yeah, and just don't forget, we are in a uptrend and a downtrend, so that tells you all you need to know about the market. We're in an uptrend and a downtrend.
Yeah, I mean, are you putting any more weight into the moving averages, Monty?
I'm starting to put a little more into it, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you look here. This is the simple moving averages on the daily. I mean, look, we're all we're converging. Besides the 200, we're way off the 200, but we're converging on everything else here. Something's got to give one way or the other here pretty soon. You would think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been studying different moving averages and different price action, and it's kind of my next thing: more price action and moving averages, and trying to build my tool chest, Linus. Trying to build my tool chest.
That's all about, man. Yeah, that's all I've got. I don't know if anybody has any questions. Our guy, Mr. Wick, is on, and I always mispronounce this, but Baconic,
It's Baconic, right?
Baconic.
Yeah,
We'll go with that.
Mr.
I'll,
Wick.
I'll miss, I'll mispronounce it each time.
He said he could not
Uh,
unmute last time. So I
yeah,
was
I wonder if his
seeing,
permissions.
yeah, he's got permission because I'm sitting there looking at it now.
I'm gonna unmute him. So let's see if he does. Can I unmute? No, I can't unmute him.
No, I'm looking at it now. So he's not muted. He should be able to just click unmute and talk. I've got everything able where he can talk. So I'm looking at it here. Oh, what was that? You or was that somebody else? Or was that me? Oh, no questions. There you go. he actually put it in the
Cool.
chat. Awesome. Say I didn't know how to speak. It doesn't let me. We'll work on that and see if we can figure out how you can speak. Baconic, you have anything? You're muted too. If not, this will
Yeah.
be. We'll have this up. The same link that I shared in there. This will be the same link that goes over in the that you can watch it over again. Just remember, you're gonna have about 10 minutes to start with of silence or me sitting there humming to myself, whichever one you got. So. I was making sure we were not having the same issues we had last time. I was making sure we could share screens, and I wish somebody could see this. I've got probably 20 windows open on all my monitors here, like shuffling back and forth. To when Linus says, "Hey, can you move this?" I'm shuffling windows to open stuff up. So
That's awesome, man. Well, some other future stuff. Me and me and Monty keep talking some futures for this group and this channel, and so we've got some exciting things that are coming aboard, and really we want to help everybody. You know, obviously we want to help ourselves and our investment strategies, and everybody has their own path, but we're also starting to think about some smaller accounts, some non-margin accounts, just trading strategies that helped us and are continuing to help us. And you know, we all go on cold streaks and hot streaks, but what we're trying to do is create a system that works for everybody in every sort of situation. So if you fill into this type of trader, then you know, do this. These are your strategy and your tool chest that works. If you can't watch a chart every 5 minutes, then obviously you shouldn't probably be a scalp trader. Because
right,
then you're just going to look at the market, try and make a move, and force something because your schedule allows it, which is what I used to be, and that was really really bad for me.
yeah, I've actually
So
been back testing some stuff on maybe taking some swings a day or two out. Go a little further out on the options, go a few weeks to a month out, and then swinging a day or two instead of those long swings. The market,
yeah,
believe it or not, if you look at it, the market seems to be, holding pretty well with that. So I've been kind of back testing it, but I'm not ready to throw it out there 100% yet.
yeah. I mean, you kind of look at last week was the stupid missiles got me, but had I just as a swing trader, had I just held my positions for Monday that I planned on holding, I would have been a-okay. I would have had ample opportunities throughout the week to exit profitably. And I actually did that for Apple. I scalped Apple pretty good last week, about 2 to 3 times with swings. And initially, like one day, I'd be way down on my Apple weeklies. Or I actually bought them for the next week, 150 calls, and I think one day I scalped them for like 30%. And then the next day I bought them back a little bit too high, and then I was down like 20% on them. And I just held them for the next day. I ended up closing them out for a 35% gain um, overall in the position. So the swings, as long as you give yourself some time, and obviously they're not so far out of the money or so
That's
way
your key.
aggressive, and obviously a landmine doesn't hit you or a missile. It looks like this market is recovering and just kind of chopping water. And I saw a really good tweet. I think you shared it. Somebody shared it about the VIX. I think actually Laconic shared it about the VIX being so low, and that's basically no long-term hedges are happening for multiple months out. So you're getting a lot of weekly hedges.
Yeah, I did share.
which
Yeah. I thought that was interesting. Yeah. Go ahead. My bad.
yeah,
Didn't mean to cut you off.
yeah,
I was
yeah.
trying to figure out what you were talking about, then it hit me all at once, and I had to say something. Sorry.
Yeah, which I mean, it makes a lot of sense if you think about it, because that actually is like, why would the market move like it's moving? I mean, 3 to 4 points a day is not healthy. Like, this is not a healthy market, and that's because of all the hedges are short term.
Yep.
So once you see the VIX start spiking up, I mean, I know everybody says that, but it's like, what is a spike up on the VIX? Well, maybe it's 26, 27, and it's holding, and that means, okay, more long term hedges are starting to hit the tape and are holding on the tape, so therefore it's getting more and more attractive for people to do just that and do long term hedges. So again, something to keep an eye on. I know the VIX can be manipulated and all that stuff, but I think sometimes the VIX is treated a lot like the Dixie used to be treated, where it's like the VIX has to move instantaneously
Yep.
with the market. And you know, back in when we first all got together and we were monitoring the Dixie, obviously the Dixie didn't move like the way it does now, but the Dixie would move and it would be kind of a delayed indicator of what was to come. And I think we're starting to get that with the VIX, where it's kind of the new Dixie.
Well,
So
and something I think a lot of people forget. Everybody's always like they have to move the same time, the same. You've seen it in our chat a lot. Like same story, VIX is not moving, and SPY's going up. What's up? Or SPY's going down. VIX still hadn't moved. Well, VIX is a volatility index. I mean, it's not going to move. I mean, you're liable to see it move with SPY sometimes. That's the
right,
biggest key. Don't think that just because VIX is going up, SPY 6 can automatically come down.
yeah, yeah, and that's something I had to learn. And same with like TNX and Dixie. Now there are times where the TNX is up, the Dixie's up, the VIX is up, and the SPY's up, and you're just like, well, I just can't trade today because
Right.
nothing makes sense.
Yeah.
Which then kind of goes back to your strategy of just watching the wicks and doing technical trades for scalps for a few minutes is really the only safest thing you can do in those situations.
Right.
And some would argue it's the safest thing you can do in general, which I would agree with that to a point. I'm just egomaniac that has to know the reason why the market's moving, so I have to do longer term positions. But the thing that obviously the Dixie is so important, but I'm going to keep an eye on that VIX, and like it's going to be a delayed indicator, or it could be a leading indicator, I should say, but it may not be happening as fast as everyone anticipates. There's a really well respected hedge fund manager that I know through a friend, and his comments lately have been that he doesn't actually believe that there's going to be this massive crash in the market, that the market is just so stubborn that it's just going to keep being these kind of step ladder hits downward. So basically following that trend line, but not having these like violent crashes of 50, 60 points like on the SPY, like people are anticipating will happen in a month. And he said it's possible, but he said the market just seems so stubborn that it just wants to keep buying that dip because it just, the fear, FOMO is so strong, fear of missing out. You keep getting these V-shaped recoveries, and people will just keep buying it until it doesn't work, right? Like, you had a really bad CPI report in October, on the October release, and we were down, that was the year-to-date low in the SPY, 348, and a V-shaped recovery 20 points in a day on a bad CPI report. It's like, why did that happen? Well, it kind of makes sense that people are just going to buy that dip, and it's going to take a lot for it to finally crack and do an aggressive move down to the 330s and things like that in one big move. Probably is not going to happen unless J Powell brings fire and brimstone on November 30th, or FOMC, and he does, rate hikes longer, emergency rate hike, whatever it may be. But still, that they still may even buy it because it's okay. J Powell's out of the way. He's mad, but he's already emptied bullets. He's used all his bullets. But
Are you looking
anyway,
at the?
I rambled on.
Can you see this?
But
I just
yeah,
look.
yeah.
So you see what I just did on VIX? So we've gotten the same pattern since January on VIX. Watch, we spike, we come back down, and then we make a lower low like it's changing, right? But the whole time we're making all these higher lows.
Yeah.
It's pretty deceptive if you don't swing out in it. I mean, it's done the same pattern. Are we in for the same
Yeah.
pattern again?
And it looks like it's entering its consolidation period
Yep.
for another move.
It looks just
up.
like these,
Yeah, yeah.
identical. I mean, look, we got the boom. We got a little pullback there, a little pullback here. It's the same
Yeah.
move. It's the same exact move.
Market wants to die. This wants to die. But I don't know if they'll let it die this year. I'm
No,
hoping they, but I don't know if it's going to be this year.
I think we got to get. And when you were talking, I think we got to get back up here. This 29 area
Yeah.
for sure on VIX. This is interesting. I'm glad we were able to talk some of this out and do it at the same time. I like this kind of setup we did by accident.
Yeah, definitely. Because this is, we're all looking at the same charts, but then we also all look at some of the same or different charts of like smaller companies or individual tickers, and you start to realize, well, wait a minute, the VIX, what's it doing, or TNX, what's it doing, and yeah, this is all working out well. I mean, I know our videos are long and they're not very entertaining or sexy or as far as flashy for some of the other people, but we'll get there. And I think this is more than enough knowledge for somebody if they wanted to know what we think, which ultimately is kind of all we can do is just tell you what we think
Right.
and how we're
Absolutely.
going to play the week. I think it gives them all the information they need. So,
Yep. I agree.
by the way, how good is Michael Silva? That guy's great. His little 7-minute videos goes through all those technical indicators that I've never heard of.
Actually, I kind of like him, believe it or not.
Yeah, I mean, I know Maverick's a bit dramatic.
I can't do Maverick. I can't do Maverick. Sorry. I can't do it. I just can't. I know you said his charts are great. I just can't get past that first part, the talking part. It's so dramatic, and I'm just like, nope, I gotta stop. So, can you pull
Yeah.
the chart and see what you guys think? So we just got a chart request for our first time here in Linus. How about
All
that?
right.
So we will actually look at it, and we'll just look at Amazon. So let's check it out. Let's clear everything because I hadn't looked at Amazon in a long time. Ooh. So we're on the daily, of course. Ugh. Amazon is ugly.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, we still got a gap down. So. And then we still got a gap up. We're kind of in that no man's land there. Linus, have you looked at Amazon lately?
I have not. I mean, I know obviously they had their horrendous earnings. They gapped down on them, but they had this resiliency of just like popping right up, and now it
Ooh,
looks like they're. Oh, look at that!
ooh.
That's, yeah,
So we had
It's
that
that
spike up
resistance.
and it just. So what did you say? What did you ask? So Maven, oh, they mentioned. Hold on, I can't read the whole thing. I got too many screens open.
here I'll read it out. Maybe the other day mentioned Amazon has officially entered a bear market. The long term should exit. He looked at the weekly slope. Can you pull that chart out and see what you guys think?
Is that a slope or is that a cliff? So that's the question. So you got, actually, look at this. You got a inverted cup and handle working. Looks like. I mean, like to the T.
Yeah,
To the T.
yeah. Oh man, this looks like it's got a bad place to go. Well, I think he went back to 2009. I think he was. If I remember seeing that same video on Maven. I think his price target was something like crazy. It was like 40. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. On the channel.
Go back. I'm not going back to 2009.
Yeah, he went back to 2009. So, you'll have to do a custom.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, wow.
There's your 2009.
But the cross is what I guess the blue's 100. And
Yeah.
the blue 50.
Yeah. So we're
Blue's
fixing to,
100, so it's
yeah,
got the cross the 200.
yeah, you got the 200 here, so we're fixing to cross, which if we do cross, that is the death cross, so
Yeah.
that's going to be, yeah. You definitely can see a lot more downside for sure.
Yeah, I think on his stream he said something about 40 was his target. He said he probably won't get down there, but he said that's what the chart tells him.
Yeah, so a lot of people think, I was reading something, it might have been in here, somebody might have shared it, it might have been what I saw when I was just scrolling through, that about how overvalued everything is, and I think it was actually on Facebook, somebody was talking about it and said that SPY actually technically is so overvalued and needs to come back half. So they were talking about
Yeah.
the 200 range for SPY. If SPY comes back to the 200 range, then yeah, you could see the 40 range here, but I don't know. I'm not a doom and gloom guy
Yeah.
personally. I mean, you look here, you're gonna have support weekly on the 80s, right around this range. And if you want to get, you can draw out weekly support just like you can any other support. So I mean, you're right here at it, and you look, we almost hit it there, and we bounce right back up, right? So for me to see any more downside, I need to see that 84.25 range break, or possibly even down to that 80 range. But personally, I would play a bounce off of it. Do
I
what?
was gonna say, are you gonna go long on Amazon?
Yeah.
At these levels?
Yeah, I mean, if we hit 80, yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I've started accumulating small Amazon in my long-term account. My goal is to have, to start selling calls and puts off of it here before long.
Right,
So,
right.
yeah, I hope it goes to 80. Go to 40. I'm fine with that. I will load it up on it. So I don't see Amazon going anywhere. I mean, the only competition Amazon has, Walmart's trying to get in that competition, and it's just going to be hard for Walmart to compete with the day in and day out. I mean, Amazon is just Amazon is the Chick-fil-A of that world, where Walmart is the McDonald's.
Right.
So you get the customer service and just the response from Amazon. Just Walmart can't touch that.
And
Yeah.
you've got the added the Amazon Web Services while you're at it too. I mean, that's the whole other side of the component of their business that Walmart can't even touch.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. AWS is their crown jewel.
Which it should
Much
be.
like
Yeah,
Right, much like the online store was their crown jewel when they were doing books.
Yep.
Everybody was knowing them for the books, and then they come out with the everything store, and now everybody knows them for the everything store, and the real money's actually in the web services.
absolutely. Yep.
But Amazon is going to be a long, but I guess the question is that is how you would play it as a long-term investment. from a short term standpoint, you can't feel comfortable buying short term calls or any like thing like that
No.
with Amazon unless maybe it bounces off that support line that looks like it did earlier.
Right.
Um,
No, I keep Amazon and a lot of other things in an account that I look at about once a month.
yeah,
I definitely do not look at it daily. If you did, you would sell everything every other day.
yeah. Well, you may even like even on the covered call side of things, right? You maybe covered call a little bit too aggressive when you don't really need to, and you can just stack a few extra pennies on top of your position with little risk of the contract actually executing, and you know that is kind of the name of the game. You have a long term hold, and then write $100 Amazon calls for next week, and if it pays you a couple cents a contract, who really cares, right?
Yep.
You were gonna hold the position anyway, and this is just basically free money. And if they do decide to take you out at $100, oh well, right? Thanks.
Well, I mean, you got that, or you could actually buy the contract back before it got there. You got options, so
Yeah.
I'm all about selling, and I need passive income, and I can get some passive income coming in with selling and puts and calls.
There is a special feeling about doing covered calls and then expiring worthless.
Yep. Oh, yeah. And you kind of celebrate, and you're like, oh, that's probably me that lost it last time.
Right. Like, I'm finally at the other side of this. Oh, so full circle.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, until the market though shows a little bit more realistic movements, I'm staying mostly cash for my long term. I just don't trust it. So
Yeah, I've got a few
I'll
things.
pick up here and there, but like even Apple's super like Apple can fall to 120 and it still be way overvalued in my opinion.
Almost everything's overvalued in my opinion right now, but
Yeah.
kind of why we're in the shape we're in overall too. So
And
Why-
you're starting to see that in crypto, right? Crypto's cracking, but it's still way overvalued than what it should be.
yeah, that was the point somebody made, and they were talking about SPY going to 240, and somebody's like, "That's the dumbest thing I ever heard." And he's like, "Are you the person that said Bitcoin would not drop below 30,000?" I mean,
Yeah.
here we are. I know Bitcoin and stuff had other things going, but stock market isn't exactly the strongest thing right now either. So
Well, and wow, Bitcoin's under 16,000. I didn't see that.
yeah.
Um, the the reality is that the bond market will actually provide pretty good opportunities for people. It's like, what? You're going to give me 4%
Yep.
for risk free? I don't have to worry about anything? Sure. I mean, if the U.S. government bond market system collapses, then we got much bigger problems in your portfolio.
Absolutely.
So it is the safest bet. And I think you're going to see money start to migrate over there. I honestly think that this last quarter is just games by the hedge funds. And they get their bonus. They'll probably exit before Jay Powell's speech. Maybe get one more week. Maybe next week is the week where they just kind of push it up. And then they look like geniuses because they pulled all the cash out and avoided a big move down. And, regain confidence from their clients to redeposit in January because they avoided a meltdown in December, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, I can see all that kind of playing out, but I'm not a conspiracy guy. I just have to go off of really the person that's moving the markets for me is Jerome Powell. If Jerome Powell comes in and says, I want the market to cool off, then I'm going to put my chips with him and I'm going to give him enough time to be right.
Yep.
And I've learned my lesson with fighting the Fed in 2020. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it again. And I fought that quantitative easing. I got hurt. And then I finally jumped on board and it worked out well. So I'll do the same this time around too. So,
Well,
all right.
awesome.
That's all I've got. So anyway, just to wrap up for my thing, I know we said it over and over again. But this week I'll be playing it light, not looking for any trends, just kind of taking any move with a grain of salt, both up or down, and just scalp very little and try not to ruin my Thanksgiving doing something stupid.
Same here.
I was
Same
going to
here.
say for the undervalued category, I'd take a peek over at those commodities and watch them this week. They're having a nice pullback, and it looks like the Dixie's trying to push itself up over that 107.2, 107.3 line and peek its head up again.
Yeah, so this would be actually not to keep the conversation going. Is are we all bullish on oil after as a pullback happens? Do we believe that oil comes popping right back up? I don't know the answer to that. I would
You know,
say
I was going to say, at least some of the folks that I've been, a lot of them seem to, like, they're pointing to the SPR, they're pointing to increased overall consumption, even with the China lockdown. Um, and at the same time, there's not been a significant investment in the actual production. And from what, at least from what some of the posts I've been reading, OPEC didn't even meet their quotas. They reduced their quotas or whatever, but they weren't even meeting them to begin with. And they're at from what I was seeing, a lot of refineries are also at high 90s capacity. So it does set up for an interesting fundamental run. And there's a massive amount of free cash flow happening in a lot of these oil companies, which of course is why you've got Europe trying to pass the windfall tax and US trying to sniff that. But I mean, long term, I think energy is going up from my perspective.
that's good. I mean, I think that would be the key thing there is long term, right? So, um, yeah, I guess it would be kind of around that February, get through most of winter, and see if China can back off on their lockdown. The minute China backs off their lockdown, oil's going to shoot up. So yeah, it seems like a good trade.
Say oil and just about every other commodity. They had that rumor that China was opening up, and that's when gold, silver, copper, everything was shooting up as the Dixie was going down like double tailwinds.
Yeah. Well, that's the other that yeah, gold, which I know we rarely. I mean, we're just now starting to really talk about it in the chat, but gold kind of gave you a glimpse of the moves last week because it really wasn't moving when the market was moving up. It just kind of hung hung tight around where its levels, and then when that missile hit, it kind of normally when war happens or some unstable happens in global conflict, gold catches bids, and it got a little bit of a bid, but it just didn't sustain that rally. So, yeah, that's another one we probably need to start keeping an eye on our arsenal. Just if the move in Dixie is real, then gold will inverse it. If it's not real, then gold will sit tight. So, man, I'm just mad I sold my miner too early. I had the NEM miners calls. I was down like 60%. I was like, I just need to get out of these things. Hold them for 2 more weeks, I would be up 75%.
Yeah,
I was going to say, I know that I've been following Maven too, and his first pullback level was around where mine is at that what is it, 1725, 1730, where you're kind of hitting some of that resistance and support.
Yeah, I mean, it broke out, that's for sure. And it ran hard. But the good thing about gold is it'll move, but it'll come back, and then it's not a violent mover by any stretch. So if it's really gonna to move and sustain a trend, it tends to do it for a while. So looking at the volume profile there, it's got a big old boy to get it over. You saw it get rejected.
Yeah.
Let's see if it can come back up.
Yeah, I mean, it's got what 1824, 1800 roughly. 1815 to get above it.
For gold to really catch bids, things really have to start falling apart globally. Now I know it seems that things are falling apart globally, but domestically, our consumer is still so strong that you're not seeing much of the U.S. market get impacted. So Dixie keeps catching bids. But I think the minute when Dixie falls and SPY starts to fall with the Dixie because they realize that the economy is headed for a nasty turn, I think that's when gold will shine and you catch a ton of bids and probably break that resistance that it's up there now. But yeah, maybe accumulating those positions are not a bad thing for the short term. Q1 2023, Q2 2023.
It seems to
So-
respect, gold seems to respect levels really, really well.
Yeah, it's a boring one. It's not as boring as sugar, which, my God, I was in Kane for a little bit last year.
I watched a video on trading
it-
sugar.
It literally moved like 5 cents in a week. And that was a major move. $9, 20 cents, $9.25. I was like, I gotta get out of this thing. I can't hold this thing. It's safe, but it ain't for me.
That's too safe.
But it's too safe. Yeah. But yeah, gold I'm learning more about. The miners move. NEM moves. And I know we did a chart analysis on that a few videos back, but yeah, that's going to be a good one to pick up. So I would say the safer bet, if you must buy the dip in something, it's going to be oil and commodities, because you're banking on Dixie falling eventually, which by the economy and what is supposed to be happening, Dixie should be falling soon. However, this is where this weird thing with the Dixie is like when Jay Powell raises rates and does more aggressive policy, Dixie rises up because the global world gets impacted, so everybody piles into the Dixie instead of their own currency. So if Jay Powell is going to continue to be more hawkish, does that mean the Dixie catches bids again, which then commodities are on a prolonged sell-off because of the Dixie? This one's complicated and tricky and fun all at the same time, I guess. Is can you be bullish on J Powell? Sorry, can you be bearish on the markets due to J Powell and bullish on commodities at the same time? I don't know the answer to that. I guess we gotta figure that out. So,
Awesome. Well,
or are they not even related, right? Are they not related and they just move at their own pace?
right. So, Baconic, you got anything else to add? I appreciate you jumping on and adding to it already.
I was gonna say, yeah, Baconic is to answer the long going question is usually how the handle gets pronounced. So
Alright, Baconic. Finally.
it's iconic with bacon.
It's beautiful.
Right, I'm a
I'm
bacon
a
lover
fan
too,
of
so.
No, I'm just kidding.
Awesome.
Um,
All right, I'm fixing to cut this off. I've been on for an hour and a half now. It's a long stream.
yeah, let's cut it off. So, alright, thanks guys. We'll
Thank
talk
you,
to in the
everybody.
chat.
See you later.
Thanks.
Alright.
Whoa, 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 whoa.